That's the only time throughout the tax season. We'll be there every
Right.
Tuesday and Thursday, or Monday and Thursday.
Okay. I can't tell how far. Remember last week we were like 7 minutes behind the regular broadcast.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. That's not cool.
Mine's like 3 seconds behind today is showing on this. So.
Yeah, not cool.
I know Blog Talk Radio is really suspect at times.
Right.
Wonder.
That's just it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It shows.
So far, so good. 25.
Yeah. That's about right. Let's see.
1 minute until showtime.
Those of you just joining us, you can chat with us on any of our live stream destinations. Twitter, I don't know if Twitter would work on here. Facebook for sure. YouTube, Blog Talk Radio as always, and what else are we on? Anyway, wherever you're listening to us on, see if there's a little comment box or a chat box, and hopefully we'll get it here. Oh God, get it here.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get it here.
Yeah, had to
Never know.
Voice.
Never know.
That's right.
Never know. We've been doing this too many years
That's right.
to think that
We
it's
put a lot
going to
of
work
faith.
right.
A lot of faith in the system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, really.
10
10
seconds.
5
Your
seconds.
show will go live in 5 seconds.
There we
4,
go.
3, 2,
Boy, mine
1.
got perfect.
Blog Talk Radio.
This is All About Wine, the talk show dedicated to the wine industry since 2009. Featuring winemaker, cellar master, vineyardist, and tasting expert, Ron.
Basically, what we're trying to do on this program is just trying to educate people and trying to make wine less confusing and more friendly.
From coast to coast and around the world.
You know, we really have had some neat people on the program. I love that.
Post your questions and comments during the live show on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. Again, that's www.facebook.com/allaboutwinebtr. And now, All About Wine is on.
It is.
Here we are. Woo-hoo. Here's Ron.
Thank you, Bus People. We're having beautiful weather here in Florida, and Bus People are just really enjoying this.
Yeah.
Got up to 81, 82 today, and clear skies and slight breeze, and all around the country they're freezing, and it's cold, and the roads are icy, and
so sad.
So yes, I know. I am bragging a little bit. So
yeah, come join us. I mean, temporarily,
yes.
but come join us temporarily.
And then go back home. Yeah. A lot of people do. We get a lot of snowbirds here. But we have a guest tonight, Mike and Felicia. I met them playing golf. I'll give you the little background. They haven't contacted us yet. But I've mentioned before that I work as a ranger on a golf course, which is a person that just jumps in the cart and rides around and be sure everybody is being good. And I also have other duties like picking up the garbage, and and sometimes I close the place on Saturday nights. I close the place, and I go and lock up the gates and bathrooms and stuff. But as a ranger, I get to meet a lot of people out there, and I also play golf. And one day I was out there playing golf, and we got matched up with a couple of people, Mike and Felicia. And as we were talking, I told them about the radio show, All About Wine, and they mentioned that they have done some extensive traveling over to Europe and Germany and Italy and France, and Felicia's done some traveling to Portugal, wine countries there and all that. And so I mentioned 2 weeks ago, if you guys are listening, contact me. We'll get you on the show. Well, they didn't contact me there. They contacted me at the golf course. I was working a week ago, and they came in. They had their son with them, and said that I asked them if they'd like to be on the show, and they said it sounds like fun. And it is going to be fun. And they're also sitting there waiting to join us. I hope that's them anyway. I don't know their numbers, so I guess that's in. So well, why don't we just bring them on the show and we'll start visiting with them. Hello, Mike and Felicia. Welcome to All About Wine.
Ron.
Yeah,
hi, Ron. Can you hear us?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You're coming through great. The other person, I got another Mike in the background here who is my tech and co-host, and so if you hear him jumping there or hear another strange noise in the laughter or something, that's probably him. So.
That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
So, well, welcome to All About Wine. I was just sharing there how we happened to meet and got you guys on the show. You are originally from where?
We're from Marquette, Michigan, Ron.
Marquette, Michigan.
The Upper Peninsula.
Okay. Burr. You just say that and I get cold. It doesn't take any more than just say that area and it just makes you cold. But you have traveled extensively to wine regions around the world. And that's the reason I asked you to join us on the show tonight. So I'm going to let you guys talk for a while and tell us about some of your trips, some of the wines that you've done, how they presented, what it's all about, and everything. I'm just going to let you do some talking here.
Sure. Well, I can kind of tell you how we got started. I took a class at our local university called the International Study of Wine, and it was a fantastic semester-long class, and we learned so much. But every student had to pick a country and then do a presentation and a wine tasting. So yeah, it was really cool. And I happened to pick Portugal. I didn't know really anything about Portugal, but boy, I sure learned a lot. And Mike and I just fell in love with Portugal. So anyway, I learned about all of the wine that they produce there, and one in particular was port wine. And I had never tried port wine, didn't know a lot about it. And so, I learned that port wine from Portugal is made from grapes that are grown in the Douro Valley. And then port has an alcohol added to it. They call it brandy, but it stops the fermentation process. So you end up with this really great tasting, sweeter wine in some cases, and probably in most cases. But and there's a whole bunch of different varieties of port. But so in learning about Portugal, Mike and I said, well, let's go visit and let's go to the Douro Valley. And so, yeah, we did. And it's a fantastic area. And we flew from Sault Ste. Marie, Canada, and then Toronto, and there was a direct flight from Toronto to Lisbon. So we spent some time in Lisbon, and then we knew, we had it all planned ahead of time, but we took the train then to Porto, which is where Porto stores port wine in these casks. They're like all over the city. Really, really cool. And then from there, you can take the train to the Douro Valley. And we had 2 nights in the Douro Valley, and it was just, you sit out on your little deck and have some wine and cheese, and you're overlooking these terraced vineyards. It was just beautiful. But
Mhm.
we just fell in love with Portugal because there's great wine, there's wool, there's cork, there's olive oil. There's so much history there. It's a great place to visit.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Just a little extra to that. We have talked about port on the program and about all the different types of port and everything. So if someone,
Oh,
Felicia just said, if you want to check back on archives, we've had shows that have been dedicated to port, and you can get more information about port. Also, there is a movie that's out, and Mike, I'm going to have you, not my Mike, not you, Mike. Mike, I'm going to have you check out the movie and let us know what that is. I forgot.
Was it the documentary?
The documentary.
Okay.
yeah, I'd like
I
to
remember
know
there
about
was
that.
something.
Yeah, it was a great documentary, and it was done right there in the Douro region of Portugal, and it was about people, and it showed them harvesting and different things. It was fantastic, really interesting documentary, and
Is that the one we had the director,
all that.
the director or somebody on the show?
Yeah,
That one.
the director was on the show. Yeah,
That's right. Okay, I'll look it up. I'll find out.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But one of the things he said, he was on the show, and one of the things he said, which you probably weren't told this while you're there, but they have found an enormously large deposit of lithium in the ground in the hills where their vineyards are planted. And
wow.
with all the electronics and everything around the world and the supply of lithium that will be needed, they are a little concerned about the future of the Douro Valley region because of the amount of lithium that was discovered there. So,
Wow.
That's interesting.
it could be something in the future that could be an issue, a major issue for that area to handle and to look at and all that. I mean, obviously lithium is going to be needed to make the batteries that we're doing. Is it going to be worth selling vineyards that have been established and to get the instant riches of lithium? I don't know. It's just, but it was an interesting point that he brought up. So,
wow. Well, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, me too. Because I am a big port fan. I really enjoy a good port. In fact, when I had the winery out on State Road 52, I used to make a strawberry port, which was a very big seller. I mean,
Ron, how did you age that?
Very little. Very little.
Oh, okay.
I used Plant City strawberries and fermented and fortified, and I wasn't an aged port. It was pretty quick release port actually, but fortifying it also with brandy and bringing the alcohol up. But it was sweet and had this underlying strawberry, and I would have loved to share a bottle with you, but alas, there is none in existence unless some people out there have some stuck away somewhere.
Oh, well, it sounds delicious.
It was.
Yeah, it was very good, very popular. So,
okay,
Mike was a big fan of it.
Oh, huge. Carlos Carniero was on the show October 7th, 2021, and he is the director of A Wonderful Kingdom documentary. That was the show. He was born and raised in Porto, Portugal, moved to London, studied film, and got married in New York, and his mother's from Douro Valley, and was talking about port the whole show. So, and he did the movie. So, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
A Wonderful Kingdom. If you get the chance to look,
A Wonderful Kingdom.
check it out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can find that online too. I don't know. I can't remember. it was like $4.99 or something if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's a great show. If you've been there, I highly recommend you check it out because it's really interesting. They interview this old guy on the show about the region and stuff like that, and they go around and talk about it. It's very, very interesting. So,
we'll
a wonderful kingdom.
Yeah, we will watch it for sure.
Yeah, it's worth the time to spend, and especially since you've been there, you see it. So, I interjected on there on that. Not my mic, your mic. You were going to add something to Felicia's story there, I thought.
I was just going to add that, it was just so amazing, the town of Porto. I mean, how much warehousing they had to store this port wine. When you looked across the river, all you would see would be warehousing for all the port. It was beautiful. And, and besides, we enjoyed it so much, we ended up going back 3 different trips. And
wow.
Beside the port and the wine and the food, the museums, the churches, we went to a coach museum, which was just beyond anything I ever thought I'd see. And the people were so nice. It was just, we want to go back.
And
can't
yet
wait to
again,
go back.
Most people speak English?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. So
we went into a few restaurants where they didn't speak English, but we really had not an issue to get our order in and everything. So, yeah, everybody was so nice. It was just unbelievable, and the price of wine was just incredible. What you could buy.
Could you now, if you want to bring wine back, say you want to bring port back, what was the rules and regulations on that?
Because we were going through Canada, we were only allowed so many liters to bring back. But other than that,
I think we could each bring like 2 bottles.
2 bottles, yes.
And that was it. Wow.
That was it.
Could you have it shipped to you? I mean, or was it just cost prohibitive?
We didn't investigate that at the time, but so I don't know.
We bought an older bottle of port, and that was we saved it for many years, and then finally we had it at a special occasion.
Yeah, that was a 1972 port.
Yes.
That was a good year, 72. That was one of the better years out of Portugal. Yeah. Portugal, that's when you look up port, 72 is one of the better years coming out of Portugal. The warehouses now, that fascinates me because when you start talking about Portugal and wines and stuff like that, they go into the grapes and the process, but the warehouses aren't mentioned. And obviously you have to have them aged somewhere because there's obviously aged port. Are these warehouses just general warehouses for all the port district, or are they for each vineyard or each manufacturer, or how does that work?
Each manufacturer had their own warehousing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would make more sense actually, if you instead of trying to do it together. Oh, well, that's cool. And so Portugal obviously is one of your favorites, but you have been to other wine areas over there in Europe.
Well, yes, I was able to travel with our daughter and son-in-law. Mike couldn't go. I forget, you hurt your leg or something, but so we went to France, and of course we only had a week. Our son-in-law is a teacher, so we just had a week during spring break, and we went to Paris and we visited everything there, and then we went to Epernay, which is the champagne capital of the world, and that was a nice experience. It was fun walking down the main street in Epernay, and it was nothing but champagne house after champagne house. Yeah. And we booked a tour at one of the producers, and we went down underground, and that's where they stored the champagne. And it was really interesting. They call it a cave, and it was like a cave. And then, you know, after the tour, you get to do a sampling and all of that. But yeah, that was a really neat place. Got to see a statue of Dom Perignon, you know, who was
the father of champagne. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was really cool. And then most recently, we did not get to Germany. You mentioned Germany, but that's on our bucket list because I know there's a lot of great wine in Germany.
Oh, that's on my bucket list too. Yeah.
My daughter and I just went to Italy in October, and we were in the in Tuscany, and we did 2 wine tours while we were there on 2 different days. And so we learned about Brunello, and we were able to go to 3 different vineyards that produce Brunello. And then the other one was Montepulciano. That was the grape that is grown there. So there's so much to know. And, you know, it's just endless.
Yes, it is. Yeah, no question about that. So between the 2 grapes, the Brunello and the Montepulciano, which one is your favorite?
You know, we really liked the Montepulciano. The Brunello, they said that grape has only been around for like 80 years, and it's it's so specialized. Yeah, but it's really specialized and controlled, so it's very expensive. And honestly, neither my daughter nor I liked it as well as the other one. Yeah,
that's interesting.
So, you know, everybody has their own preference, I guess. But what's your favorite?
Yeah, you know, I'm asked that quite often, and what I usually, if I'm going to be stuck on an island and I can only have one wine, and that's it, it would either be a Barbera or a, wow, you know, and it's always hard, but Barbera would be running up there, and a Cabernet Franc. You know, those are 2 wonderful red wines, and I like them both. But
those are both. Those are good ones.
And it's so hard. It's so hard to choose. You know, one grape out of the hundreds and hundreds of possibilities out there, and all that. But Carmenere, that's another one out of Chile that I absolutely love. There are some great, Cabernet Sauvignon is always the go-to grape for so many people, and I always love a good Cabernet, and a Sauvignon Blanc for a white wine, and, you know, some German Rieslings are just wonderful. And, you know, so to say what is my favorite grape, it would really be difficult to try to pin it down to one. If I had to, I don't know, I would probably say Cabernet Franc, with Barbera giving it a good run for its money. I really like a Cabernet Franc. And I've had some great ones out of California a few years ago. It's not made as a varietal as much as some of the others, but it's really a wonderful grape. So I was going to ask you about the champagne houses, though. Is that made just for tourists? I can't see locals going there and frequenting all that enough to keep them in business. So is that
No,
just...
it's not really for tourists. I mean, it is their production
Really?
and storage area. Yeah. And they just happen to do, tours because, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't even, I don't think it was very expensive to do the tour and the tasting, but it was great. And there are so many champagne houses there, big ones and small ones. And no, it's the area where it's all produced. And
That's the only place it's produced, correct?
Right.
Technically,
Champagne
that's the only place you can do it. Champagne. The rest of the place has to be sparkling wine or any of the other names that they call them around the world. But for champagne, that is the only place you can do it. But it seems to me, wow, you mentioned champagne house. That's a champagne house. Are they? It's not particularly storefronts though. It's just production.
Yes, I mean most of them have like a little, maybe a visitor's area or a wine shop. I mean we went into a few of them, and it seemed like you could do a tasting in many of them. I should have had my daughter join our call because she would have more, a better memory and take on everything there. But I don't know. It was just really interesting, and
yeah, I can imagine.
There weren't very many other tourists there.
Really, It just seems like the Champagne region of France. It seems like it would just be swamped with tourists, especially in October, which would be a good time of year to go there. I mean, it's.
Well, this was actually in like March. It was
March.
My son-in-law's spring break. Yes.
Okay. Well, still, that seems like it'd be a good time of year to go there too, because it's not really bad weather and anything, and it'd be a pretty decent season. So, but it surprised me that. Yeah, it's surprised me that you. I don't know. I would picture it as something different than just the houses. I would picture it as a tourist area more than anything. But yeah, I've never been there, so I can't compare it to something in Napa and Sonoma and stuff like that, or even Finger Lakes areas and stuff where you got the tourist aspect of it more so than anything. Of course, that's where they make it and all that. But it seems like when you say streets of Champagne, you would almost picture just storefronts where they're selling their ware and all that, and more than anything else. At least that's how I picture it anyway. So
yeah, and my daughter just texted and she said, yeah, it wasn't touristy at all. I mean, it's like you're seeing, their production area.
Oh. That surprises me that they'd all be right there like that.
And that was in the town Epernay. And there are other towns like Reims, Reims. That was another area. Now that seemed, we actually took the train to Reims at the end of our day, and so we had a little bit of time there. That seemed more touristy. That was more like there were lots. It was a bigger city for one thing. Epernay is a small town, and I'm just looking at how many champagne houses are in Epernay. There are more than 300 champagne houses.
Oh my gosh!
So,
yeah.
Oh my gosh! And you hear, well, they obviously must just make enough champagne to satisfy the sales there in France and maybe in Europe, but we don't get that many shipped over to the States or even to Canada from from there. I mean, there's not 300 French champagnes on the shelf in any of these places. So,
Right, I know. We get, I mean, some of the big ones, though. I mean, we're able to buy that great champagne from Epernay. I mean, even in our little town in, Marquette, Michigan.
mm-hmm. Yeah. How far outside of Paris are these places?
Well, let's see. I know we took the train. I think it was probably a couple hours ride from Paris.
Wow, so it's a little ways out there, yeah.
Yes.
Because those trains aren't like 40, 50 miles an hour. They're not like subways. They're like trains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
okay.
Is your daughter texting you again?
No, I was going to say, I just looked. It's 142 kilometers from Paris.
Oh, so it's kilometers less than a mile. So,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple-hour train ride anyway.
Yeah.
And we just rented a little VRBO while we were there, a VRBO, which whenever we travel over to Europe, that's what we do, is a VRBO, because then you're almost like you're a local, and it really adds to the experience.
Oh, well, that's a good way to do it. Do you have to book in advance, or can you do it once you're there?
Yeah. No, no, you have to really do it ahead of time. That's kind of a hobby of mine, and so I have it all set up, and we know what we're going to do every day, and where we're going to stay, and
she spends months at this, Ron, getting everything in order, and we've never had a bad trip.
So when you're ready to go, let me know. I'll help plan your trip.
There you go. I will definitely keep you in mind. No, that's the way to do it. Yeah. So we got Portugal and we got France. You said you've been to Italy?
Yes. Well, that was where my daughter and I went in October, and where we tried the Brunello and the Montepulciano. Yeah.
And Sarah, and my daughter years ago also.
Where? So you were in? Let's see, that would be northern Italy.
Yes, it's northwestern Italy, and it's Italy is kind of mind-boggling, because there are 21. I think it was 20 or 21 different regions, and each one of them has their own characteristic food and wine, and I mean, Italy is a really cool place too. When Mike and Sarah and I went years ago, we just went to Rome and Venice. I mean, we never get very long at one time, because we were working. We hadn't retired then, but so we had a limited amount of time, so we just went to Rome and Venice before, and then this time Sarah and I had a little bit more time when we went to Tuscany. But yeah, there's so much to see and do.
Oh, it's just absolutely amazing what they have over there and what's available. There was another movie you might be interested in that we talked to the director. This was about where grapes started. This was I can't think of the name of that one either. Mike, if you can remember, but it was
that the Lebanon? Lebanon, like 7,000 years ago. Yeah, Wine and War. That was another one.
Yeah, Wine and War.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and they talked. The movie was about the growing grapes in Lebanon and that area over there where they started to grow grapes eons ago, and they're there's always been a conflict. It seems like they're saying in that area, and it was an interesting documentary on that, and they had some nice interviews and all that with people there also. So something else. I think all these are on the All About Wine Facebook page, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So you can check out that. I mean, I'm not just telling you. I'm telling anybody out there listening if they happen to not catch those earlier on All About Wine. Everything's available there. So Mike, I didn't hear from you. What's your favorite wines on these trips?
My favorite wine from these trips?
Yes.
I guess I'm going to say the wines that we've had in the Douro Valley, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Were my favorites, yes.
You like those ports?
Yeah, I love those. Well, we love the Tonti and the Ruby ports, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've tried to purchase many of them, different kinds, to try different kinds. And, when you start doing this, then you get a little collection at home.
Very quickly.
So yes. So every once in a while we will open something that's 2006 or 2004, and that's fun. That's fun.
Yes. Well, port is always. Go on.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say port's always fun. Ports is there's so many different aspects of ports that people don't get into because it tends to be sweeter, and but they aren't all sweet. There are some drier ones out there, and people just don't explore them enough. They think that they're just too strong, and they stay away from them. But like you discovered, and like you're saying, there's some great ones out there.
And we've introduced them to many of our friends, and they've never tried them. And once they try them, they like them.
Yeah. Well, that's, people just stay away from them. I don't know why, because port doesn't have a bad reputation. It's just the fact that people just think, ooh, port, and they just don't try them. I don't understand that myself.
Exactly. Yes.
Felicia, you going to say something?
Yes. Well, I was going to say that many years ago we used to belong to a wine club. It was Clos du Bois from California. We went out there. This was a long time ago, and we went to their
vineyards.
Yeah, vineyard, and we tasted their wine, and it was really good, and it was free to join their wine club, and it was a really good deal. You could get like three bottles of wine 4 times a year, and it was really not expensive at all, and it was a wonderful way to learn about what they had to offer, and they had recipes that are food pairing information that they would send along with the wine shipment, and that was really great. But I don't know, it seems like I know got bought out by a big conglomerate that I think bought out probably a lot of vineyards in California. What are your thoughts on that?
There are a lot of big. You can look at, and I've seen charts and all that shows a parent company, which is, Gallo is one of them, and you put me. I can't think of. I can see the name, but I can't say. But there's like 5 major companies out there that own wineries from around the world, and it saves some of the small ones from going under, from having to shut down completely. That's one good thing about it. But one bad thing about it is it just all joins under the big corporate head. And I
Yeah,
had mixed thoughts on it. I
it
like
seems
this.
like yeah,
Go on.
started more like a mass production rather than the little mom and pop places that we saw when we were out there 40 years ago.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things I don't like about it, because it does tend to lose that mom and pop atmosphere, that little small production and the little things that they can do at Paso Robles. I don't know if you've been into that region or not. It's down south of Monterey, and it's a great wine producing region now. And there are lots and lots of little small mom and pop operations, which it's you go into the hills just west of Paso Robles, and uh, you can find somebody that has 5 acres there that's putting out a great Cabernet Franc, or someone that has 6 acres that's producing nothing but Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's just fantastic. Or here's another one that has Chardonnay that is just out of this world, and that's all they do. But then the big conglomerates come in and say, "I'll give you more money than you ever think you're going to get for this," and they'll go, "Okay," and that's it. There's no questions, no anything about it, and the big conglomerates don't continue to make these wines the way that they were made by these individuals. They basically buy the vineyard and use the grapes from the vineyard to put it into the other stuff that they're doing. And again, I have mixed feelings. I like these little small places. When I lived in California, I used to go to Napa and Sonoma, down to Paso Robles and Livermore, and visit small wineries, and got to know the winemakers and got to know the people personally and all that. And now a lot of those have been sucked up into the big corporations and stuff, and you don't have that intimacy, if you will, that you used to have. So I again, mixed emotions about it. I like the little small ones. I can't fault them for selling out, though, because they're usually given more money than they think they're going to make, and it's becoming tougher and tougher to make ends meet with insurance and cost and all the stuff that's involved. And so, but I again can't blame them, but I'm going to miss a lot of them.
Oh yes,
Right. And I don't know if it's the control that the European countries have over their wine. I mean, they don't seem to have that kind of problem where they're getting. I mean, maybe that's why they don't, because they've got the whole wine industry is controlled by. I mean, it's not their government, but
yeah, it is the government. The government has a lot of control over it. Yeah. What they can do, what the vineyards can do, there is a lot of government regulations that they have to follow, and I think it's good to a point, because you know what you're going to get. I mean, like for example, the Chianti region, new rules that just went in by the Italian government of how long a Chianti Classico can age and how it should be aged, and the grapes that go into it and all that. And you talk to the wineries there that are making it, and they're saying this is great, this is wonderful, because the ones that are doing it have been doing it, and with the regulations, it stops a lot of these little small ones that are on the fringe of the Chianti Classico from copying them, because they don't meet criteria. So it's it's a good thing to a point, I think. But trying to put the United States or Canada on that same type of regulation, I think there'll be too much of a rebelling. And then there's a lot of wineries over in France and Italy that are owned by these big conglomerates. I can't think of what is the one I'm trying to think of. It's driving me nuts now. I'm trying to. There's Gallo that owns it. Constellation.
Constellation.
There's
Yeah.
another one, Constellation
Yeah.
brand. They own a whole lot of wineries, and a lot of them overseas too. In France, Italy, that area, Spain, and I see Constellation, Gallo, and oh, geez, I'll think of it later tonight. So, but there's a lot of these big ones though are starting to spread their fingers overseas, and I hate to see it happen, but I can't blame them for doing that.
Right. It's just another arm of a business. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just money. I mean, it's some of these small wineries, especially around the Napa fringes and Sonoma and Mendocino and all that stuff. The fires are just tearing them up there, and if it doesn't get them, then the fire insurance is just getting out of hand. And it's same things happening in different wineries in France right now, in weather-related disasters. Late frost is killing a lot of grapevines and destroying yearly crops. Hailstorms. The last 3 years, they've had devastating hailstorms over in Europe in different areas. And things like this, little small wineries can't survive it. It's like those subsistence farmers who go from crop to crop, and if something happens to one of their crops, it's almost impossible to dig out of it. And the same thing happens with these small wineries, small vineyards. Something happens to a crop, and it's almost impossible for them to get themselves out of that situation. So, but yeah, I'll get off my soapbox here.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's the weather is really making a difference, and I've talked about on the program here. I've talked about the climate change and how weather's affecting the vineyards and the grapes and all that. And I think it's a lot of these small wineries in different areas have to help each other and have to turn to government. Well, not government particularly, but schools and stuff like that are working with this and working with them, because they're not going to survive this if they don't. So that's one of the problems they're facing. So so Europe. It sounds like you're European travelers. Have you done any vineyards here and wineries here in the States?
Well, actually, 6 months ago, well, it was late summer, we went to some of the Michigan wineries in
there you go.
All
right.
Yeah, right.
Traverse City area.
Traverse City area, yeah. Mm-hmm. Michigan does safe.
Little Peninsula, it's called. Mm-hmm.
The Upper Peninsula, yeah. University of Michigan and University of Minnesota, both of them are doing a lot of research on cold weather grapes, and along with Cornell University over in New York. But those are some of the big ones, and they got them planted all over in that area up there. Ones that we're not used to the names of, though. So did you taste anything that was new and unusual that stuck out to you?
No, we went to 2 different vineyards and did 2, a tasting at each one. But we can't say, I don't think none of the 4 of us really thought, a lot about it. I mean, they were okay, but I don't even remember what we tried. Well, they had a variety, the different grapes, but I don't remember what they were.
Nothing really jumped out at you, huh?
No.
Huh, yeah. That's one of the things they're saying in the new, I say new, the hybrid grapes that they're coming out with, make them cold weather hardy, and it's hard for people to become accustomed to them because they're so used to the standard ones that we've grown up with and that we've learned to like, and they come up with something new, and it's hard to get a following on those. Obviously, just like you. I mean, nothing struck you as being outstanding, so that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, I was going to ask too. You said you had tastings at 2 places. Did they charge you for the tastings?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
How much?
Yes, they did. I think actually the one place it was like $10 for a glass of wine.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because we're, you know, I've talked about this before. That's what I was asking. I talked about it before on the show about how tastings are starting to cost more and more. And I just wonder if they've reached that area. But Traverse City area is a wine region. And so you're going to get a lot of tourists there. And so they can't just be pouring out free wine all day long. You know.
And their wines were $40, $50 a bottle.
Oh, were they? Wow.
Yeah. I thought that was a little much.
Yeah, that's not inexpensive at all. Wow.
No.
Well, they have a real short growing season.
Yeah,
they have a real
do.
Short season.
And again, that's why they're coming out with the cold, hardy grapes, the ones that will make it through the winter and start producing sooner, so that gives them a little bit longer season to produce and ripen and you know, get the sugars in them and all that stuff.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes. So, Ron, one of the tastings we had, there's a TV show. It's called Oak Island.
Oh, yeah. That's on Discovery Channel.
Yes. Well, those fellas are from Traverse City. So Marty has a vineyard there. So we went to his vineyard, and beautifully built with stone and just amazing. So that was interesting for us to do.
Huh.
Yes.
But he has the money to do that.
Oh, yes. He's got the money.
which is what it takes. You know, it's just that there's no saying in the wine business. He said, you know how to make a small fortune in the wine business. You start with a large fortune.
But his place, very nice.
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
But see, you remember the vineyard and you don't remember the wine. That's a.
They weren't exceptional at all. And there were 4 of us there, and all 4 of us like wine, but nobody found. We didn't buy anything, so I guess that tells you something.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you really like a wine that jumps out at you, you'll spend the $40 for a bottle of it to enjoy it later.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's an interesting observation on your part there, that they weren't that memorable.
And Traverse City is known for cherries, and so a lot of their wines are sweet wine, sweeter wine. And we like the drier wines ourselves.
Oh. No. Well, and then yet you're port fans. Those would be sweet. You know.
That's dessert.
There you go. That's what it is. Yeah. That's it's too bad I don't have a strawberry port to share with you. That's.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful.
So the Traverse City, though, it's the region around there. It would seem like, is it? Well, I've talked to wineries up there too in that area there, and we've talked about the the cherry wines. And in fact, when I had the winery, I started to ask people to bring me wine from different states. My goal was to get a bottle of wine from every state in the nation, which I did accomplish my goal, and it only took about 14 months to do it. It surprised me how quickly I got wines from every state. But every time somebody, and since we are where we are in Florida, we get a lot of snowbirds from Michigan and Minnesota in that area there. And so I would have people bring me wine down from Michigan rather often, and almost every time it was a cherry wine. Yeah, because of the region.
Yeah,
but,
very true.
And some very good ones, though, I have to say. There were some very good, not sweet cherry wines, but there was some very good drier style cherry wines that I had from there. And I didn't drink them all myself. Let me qualify this. I didn't drink them. I used to teach a class once a month, and during the class I would brown bag one of the wines from a different state and just have the people in the class tell me about it and all that, and then I'd show them what it was. And so it was just a fun thing we did. But yeah, a lot of them from that area were cherry wines. They were really, really interesting. So, Mike, do you have any comments or anything like to ask Mike or Felicia?
Oh,
Felicia's the expert.
oh,
Yeah, no.
I think we got Mike's confused.
I was just going to tell you, Ron, about a really cool thing that happened during COVID. We have a great little wine store in our town called Everyday Wines, and they decided to do an online. I think they did it just monthly, but anyway, they would feature different wines, and if you wanted to, you could go to their store and get the wine, and then they would it was a Zoom meeting basically, and you would log into it, and they would do a tasting, and then they would talk about it. Yeah, and so we participated every month religiously, and it was so much fun, and we would make food, to go along with it. But you could do that some nights for your show.
That's a possibility. We've talked to quite a few people who do Zoom meetings and wine tastings and all that remotely. But the sad thing is, if I can do it without having people see me, then I can handle that. But I would have to.
You wouldn't even need to do Zoom. I mean, even just what you're doing now, just
we probably had maybe 40 participants every month. Zoom, and then people would put in little comments,
but we were typing all of our comments. So with something like what you've got, they could all be, basically spoken and discussed. As it was only the people, who were hosting it from our wine store. They were doing the comments, and then they would read sometimes what people had commented, but it was fun, Ron. We did it with our son-in-law and daughter, and at the end of our tasting, we would all, okay, which wine did you like? And we'd pick 1, 2, 3, or 4, and just to see how we compared them between each other. It was actually an enjoyable time.
That might be something to look at doing, 6 months down the road, and looking at, people picking up a couple of wines, and we just doing a tasting with everybody, and just comparing them that way. That's something I may entertain more there and see about. Mike, do you have any questions for Felicia and Mike, or comments or anything?
No, I think I'm good. I was there was something that I was thinking of earlier, and I forgot what it was, but
I do that all the time.
It'll come to me in a couple of weeks, and then we'll have to have him on again. So we'll just do that.
There you go. By the anyway. Remember?
Yes. Another hour just to because I remembered what I was gonna. I can't remember for the life of me what it was.
I do that a lot.
No. Did you? Oh, okay. How about this one? Did you ever have an interest in starting your own wine production or doing your own wine? I mean, you said it was only a semester long class, but Felicia said that she went and did the international study of wine and, learned about it. Did you ever have an interest maybe in starting something?
Mike, no, I just enjoy trying and trying wine and learning about it.
Yeah.
That's enough for me.
That's the extent.
That in itself is a lot.
Okay.
She'd rather spend her spare time playing golf.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
There's only so much time.
Okay.
That's right. And you spend that playing golf. There you go.
All right. All right.
But Felicia really enjoy pairing wine with they're both great cooks too. So when they cook something, they get together and they make sure the right wine is what the meal is they're preparing, and that's really enjoyable.
Nice.
Very enjoyable.
And wine and food. Wine by itself is fantastic, and a dish by itself is fantastic. But when you pair the two up, the difference in the flavors of both of them are just outstanding. And so it's great to pair the wine and food and come up with the taste that you're looking for on that. It makes so much of a difference. And
it does.
I want to suggest too, don't be afraid to try other things with it. You said you like dry wines and you make yourself a dish, but don't be afraid to try a sparkling wine with one of your dishes, or even a dry port or different things like that. Jump out there and try different things, because you would be amazed at how much it really does enhance the food if you try stuff that you normally wouldn't think. I mean, think outside the box, if you will. So
yes,
keep that in mind.
We do. We try to.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Well, any last comments from either one of you?
Well, Mike and Ron, we really appreciate you having us on, and really enjoyed meeting you, Ron, too. Very nice. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for taking the time out to talk with us about your travels and your interest in wine and all that. And maybe I will see you when you heading out of this area here, when you head north. We have to leave on the 22nd of this month, this coming Wednesday. Oh, wow.
But we're just moving to a different part of Florida. We're not actually going north until the end of April.
Okay, where's your next stop?
We are going to Fort DeSoto.
Oh, okay.
Just for a short time, and we're going to end up going over to Melbourne on the East Coast. That's where I went to college, so we're going to look up some of our the old places we went to, and then heading north up to the Panhandle, basically. But
so you've got some time left here in Florida. Well, there are wineries in Florida to visit, so be sure to check them out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a few actually. There's like 32 of them. Yeah, some of them south of here, but there's some in the Panhandle. There's some over on the East Coast. They're all over the place. Go to well, let's see. I
know Bunker Hill. There's Whispering Oaks. That's north of you, though. That's quite a ways. Oxford. I went to one in Vero Beach a year ago. That was good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're in that going towards there, but there's quite a few.
We'll be over that way.
Ones.
Okay, I honestly did not know that. We will.
There's some up in the Panhandle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So go to well, if you stop by one of these welcome centers, or something, there's a pamphlet of Florida wineries that you can
Oh,
get, and it tells you all the wineries of Florida and has a little map of them and all that. Oh, gee, it's been so long since I've used some of these sources that I can't remember.
well, we'll be able to find you.
yeah. It's probably
Yeah,
something
just-
I can find online.
Yes.
Yeah, just go to Florida wineries. Go online, go to Florida wineries, and I'm sure it will have quite a bit of information for you there. Or Catch Wine,
Yeah.
and that's another great source that I always use. CatchWine.
That's one.
.com. It lists all the states in the nation, and it has lists of wineries in all the states and of all the states. And it's a great source. It tells you where the wineries are, how far they are from another winery, and just different information, websites and stuff. So you might check that out too. CatchWine.com.
Okay, got it.
And then look up Florida wineries, and you'll see quite a few on that. I think we're up to 32 now, something like that in Florida. So they're all over the state. And so
Scrolling through them.
Very good.
Yeah.
There's
I
a lot of them out there. And most of them are sweet. Most of them are muscadine grapes, but there's a few that use other grapes. So, and fruit wines and stuff like that. So,
we will definitely check them out.
yeah, while you're here, check them out. Thank you both very much for taking your time to join us. If let's see, today's Thursday. I work Saturday evening to close, so that'll be next time I work, and you'll be leaving. So it was a great pleasure to meet you and be able to play golf with you, and also to have you on the show. And take care of yourself, and maybe we'll see you next winter when you come back down.
Yeah. Safe travels.
You
Sounds
too.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron
Thank
and
you,
Mike.
Mike.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. Very enjoyable.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye now.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Okay. There you go. All right.
Very good.
Very cool. And put the video back to normal.
Quite some extensive traveling. That was fun.
yeah.
That was fun to.
Yeah.
People who it's fun to talk to people, and this is something too for you listeners out there. If you've done traveling like this or something, give us a call, because this is enjoyable. What this is we're talking to people who just do this, and
Regular
they're not
people.
trying to promote anything.
Right.
Yeah, regular
Yeah.
people. They're
Yeah.
not trying to promote something. They're not trying to talk us into visiting them or going to a website or spending money with them. They're just telling us what it's like out there, and
Right.
that's always very interesting. So if you fall in that category, you would qualify as a guest on All About Wine also.
Ooh.
So
Yeah. Very cool.
there
So
you go.
contact the show. Not to say anything about those others who have been on and tried to get us to come out and all that
no.
stuff. It's still enjoyable.
It's great.
it's
All
just
of
a-
our guests have been
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. It's just a different.
But it's just
Different
it's
perspective.
Nice to have someone on there.
Yeah.
And just yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
Different perspective to
visitor
the
perspective.
industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it is
So.
8:06, and what
Wow.
in the world time is? Okay, so about 20 seconds off. Better than 7 minutes like last week. Unless you had anything, extra to add, we can close the show.
No,
here,
I just
23rd.
I do have to comment though, since I am from Kansas City.
Mhm.
I do have to comment on the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yes, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention that
Yeah.
on the show. So
I got a lot of hate comments because my dislike and disappreciation of the Eagles. I got some pretty good, interesting foul responses.
Yeah?
Yes, someone was
I'm
like,
not an Eagles fan.
I am not
either.
either.
So
but I'm
I-
so far detached from them. It was I made one little comment and it kind of interesting, but it was
yeah, I know.
so. But I'm glad Kansas City won. I don't care who they were playing. I'm
Me too.
just glad they won. And it was
And,
it was really
it
a good game.
It was a good game.
It was.
It was.
They both fought. They both.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
I wasn't real thrilled with the announcers.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of unknowns. I had somebody point out to me that they probably announced in the Southern California, Arizona market. That's why they got that gig.
Yeah.
But I was sort of expecting bigger names. I mean, Fox has a lot of big name announcers, and I hadn't heard of these guys, so.
Yeah.
But I wasn't real thrilled with the announcers. But the rest blew some calls, and they did good job and all that. It's so then.
It's a game.
Overall, though, it was
very big game.
A very, very good game. So
and it's exciting. Last what was it? 4 minutes, I think. Yeah. So congratulations to them, and we'll see what next year holds for it. So
for everybody.
Yep. It's time to clean slate and start over again. A new season.
Start over again.
Right.
Oh, baseball. Spring training started.
Oh, that's right.
Week.
Yeah. You follow quite a bit of that. Players are back in town.
I usually start announcing spring training coming up long before now, and it just sort of snuck up on me. So. But spring training started this week, and
they have reported.
It won't be long before the boys of summer will be back on the field and doing their thing. So.
That's right.
All right.
We'll cut the show out. We'll be back in 7 days, next Thursday, the 23rd of February. Thank you all for tuning in, and catch us on the archives if you obviously missed the show live. And send us your feedback, comments, or if you want to be a guest, please email allaboutwine101@gmail.com. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll wait till you get a pencil. Okay. Get a pencil or a pen, something to write with.
Grab a paper.
Do I have the clock? Where's the clock? Oh, it's all down there. But anyway, allaboutwine101@gmail.com. It's a limited show. We'll just wait the last 20 minutes. We'll just sit here in silence waiting for you to get something to write with. But
go get pencil paper.
And then the last 2 minutes. Okay, ready? All right. Write this down.
Okay, now.
Yes. But contact it. That goes to Ron. Ron will respond to you and get you set up and schedule you for a future show. We'd love to have you on and read your comments and let us know what you like, what you don't like, that kind of thing. Keep it nice, but we'll talk to you all. Talk to you all next week. Have a great weekend. And is it what's the holiday? President's Day? Monday? When is? There's something coming
Monday,
up.
Yeah,
is it
right.
Monday? Yeah. Okay. President's Day.
President's Day.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. I just read it the last second.
That snuck up on me too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So drink plenty of wine for President's Day. Enjoy it.
That's right. I can't think of a better time to do it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
We'll see you next week.
All right. This concludes
tonight's broadcast of All About Wine with your host, Ron. For show information, links to All About Wine on Twitter and Facebook, or to be a guest on this show, visit the show website at www.allaboutwinebtr.com. Archive shows are available for download on iTunes or on our show page at blogtalkradio.com/allaboutwine. Thank you for listening. Drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time on All About Wine.
Now what? I have to wait 8 seconds before the live stream to catch up? What? Oh, hold on. I guess I do.
Maybe.
I'll wait till I see. Wow, it is still scrolling. Thank you for listening. Drink responsibly, and we'll see you next time. Yeah, it's still playing the video.